My name is Ralph Rushton. I was born at a little place near Manchester, the north of England, called Staley Bridge. My childhood was fairly hard because it was all through the war years, so I spent most of my life and evenings in air raid shelters, either in ground or under a big steel table, and I had to be working even when I was only at the age of 12 and 13. I used to be tiling roofs. It was a hard life then. I never thought about going to sea until one of my relations, who was in the Merchant Navy, came home and brought these nice things from Argentina. And when I saw them, I thought, that's something I want to do, travel the world. So at the age of 15, I just left home and went to sea. And that's when I first started off as a bellboy on the Queen Mary. And from there on, I just never looked back because the Cunard was the best. When I first arrived into the dock gates and I could see the Queen Mary, it was unbelievable how big it looked. I'm just a little tide and I couldn't see the end of it. It was so long. It was a fantastic sight. For in her days, of course, she was the biggest and the best.
The Queen Mary is enormous, but her greatness isn't measured in tons. The Mary is part of the history of the sea.
And then I went up the gangplank and signed on. My first job was a bellboy, and from bellboy I went to a commie waiter, and then a fully fledged waiter in the cabin class dining room, and then a first class waiter, but I didn't like that, so I'm back to the cabin class. But of course, in between that, I done lift man, and I even done bathroom steward. We used to work between 10 and 12 hours a day, pretty near non-stop. I sometimes think, gee, how did I manage all that hard work and long hours? But it was fantastic on the other hand, and we just loved it. On the Queen Mary, for some reason or other, everybody seemed to come together. It was more of a family. Once we got a distress signal, came into the radio room. There'd been an accident on another ship, so we had to go to the rescue. Well, once they got them on board and operated on them, then they asked for volunteers to get them back to another ship, to get them back to America, because we was going to Southampton. So I volunteered, and then when we finally got him up on the other ship, we had to make our way back to the Mary. And the sea was going up and down, and you've got to come up the rope ladder, about 6 or 7 flights. And that's how we had to go until we got right up to the boat deck. And when I look down now, today, oh, it scares me just to look down, let alone to come up a rope ladder. I'd never do that again. And the funniest part about all this, I can't swim. I've never been interested. If the captain can go down with the ship, so can I. I was on the Queen Mary during the golden years, from the 50s up to 1962. Some people was travelling on the ship not to get between New York and England. They was travelling on the ship just to be on the ship because of all the big events they had, the dances, the shows, and especially if it was New Year's Eve on the ship. That was a big thing. It was some party, and boy, did they party.
The Mary was packed. 2,000 passengers every voyage. Kings, queens, film stars, the politicians, the officials, the businessmen. Everyone who was anyone crossed in the Mary in those days.
There was champagne flowing, balloons flying, bouquets of flowers. And of course, in them days, it was all posh dress, mink coats, high-heel shoes. I met a lot of celebrities, film stars, royalty, like the Duke of Windsor, Mrs. Simpson, Liberace, Rock Hudson, and also Princess Wilhelmina. That was a feather in my cap. I was sitting at home thinking one night, I thought I'd like to go and visit my girlfriend from the 1950s, the RMS Queen Mary. See, it was in '62 when I finally left the Merchant Navy and left the Queen Mary. And this is my first time back. And when I got here, I was treated like royalty. I just couldn't believe it. And after seeing her again, I still love her. She's still a great ship. She's still my girlfriend. The Queen Mary actually is like a magnet. There's something about this ship that keeps bringing you back. She's not like other ships. She's got a heart and a soul. As I walk around the ship now, it keeps bringing back memories. He was very proud to be on the biggest ship, the fastest ship. It was a great time. I really loved it, and I'd like to go through it all again. I'd love to go through it all again.